If you're serious about your music career, every dollar counts when trying to build a fan base. And here's something I wish someone told me before I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars marketing my music, hoping to get heard, only to be let down. My name's Chris, also known as the Artist Manifest. I have about 500,000 monthly listeners. We had a song in the Super Bowl, the Olympics, and in the NFL this year. And I started my company, Smart Music Business, not because I've got it all figured out, but because I've made some mistakes along the way and I want to help you avoid them. So in this video, I want to cover the 5 worst ways you can spend your music marketing budget. Number 1 is recording too many songs with no promotion plan. It's way better for you to have 5 amazing songs than 10 mediocre ones. I like to say you want to be part of the fantastic few instead of the mediocre many. All right, I know it's tempting to do more songs, and it's like, hey, this producer's like, hey, if you do 5 songs, it's this price, but if you do 10, I'll give you more. But it's so much better that you do less songs and make them better. And I actually encourage you, when you're hiring a producer or engineer to do a record with you or do a few songs, you want to start with just 1 or 2. When you tend to do more, I find that they're just trying to finish the record and move on to the next client. That's not always the case, but it's very common because it's like, hey, now we're just trying to get this done, as opposed to, look, let's focus on each song at a time and make it amazing. But really what it comes down to is your budget. Like if you've got $10,000 for your budget, well, then I would take just 5 of that and put that towards the record, and then take the other 5 for marketing. But what most artists do, and I've done, is I'll take, $9,000 of it and put that to the record and only leave $1,000 for marketing. But this doesn't allow us to grow. Just putting songs out there for the same 100 people, the same 1,000 people, or even for me, I could say the same 500,000 people. Once you climb to a certain point of the mountain, you realize there's another mountain and you just want to grow. But what got you here won't get you there. And what I like to say is the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. If you want to grow tomorrow, that means you have to plant something new today and do something different. Switch it up. If it's not working, it's time to change strategies. What I say on my Spotify challenge is that, look, it's not time to quit on your dream, but it may be time to try a different strategy. So can I encourage you to do less songs and put more into the marketing of it so that you can grow that fan base? Number 2 is hiring a publicist. Okay, blogs don't drive streams, all right? Press articles don't drive streams. Like, let's be honest, who's really reading magazines? I'm not saying that nobody does, but as far as the ROI and you hiring a publicist, hoping to get in a magazine that even enough people read, that they'll read and then go and stream your music because they read you in an article, it doesn't really work that way. And they might say, look, I'll blast my email out to 5,000, 10,000. I don't care if it's 50,000 contacts, okay? I know that maybe only a small percentage of those will open that email. An even smaller percentage of them will actually click or maybe respond to the press release that the publicist sends out to you. Then whatever small portion of those that actually write about you, how much traffic is actually going to that website? If you're a niche artist and maybe you're in the Christian, the rock, classical, doesn't matter your niche, you're better to find a website that has all this traffic, like actually has a lot of traffic, people going to that website, and maybe they have a huge email list. You'd be better to go to them and just do a promotion with them and talk to them. Let me do a campaign where I do a whole site takeover, right? But you want to make sure you're at least getting the email blast because they'll have actually targeted fans, right? Like they're going to actually have targeted fans of your genre of music. And then maybe you can send an email blast out about to your new album. Or maybe it's your Kickstarter or something like that where you can get really good ROI. A lot of times when we did this, I would never just do an email blast about my new album. Normally I would do an email blast saying the CD is free, just cover shipping and handling, and then I'll have a whole bunch of upsells on the back end, so that way I'm building an email list of buyers. Because it's like, look, I just paid all this money to get an email blast to all these targeted fans, and I'm just going to send them to Spotify, where Spotify doesn't give me their email addresses of all the fans. Can you imagine if I had 500,000 email addresses of all the monthly listeners or people that are streaming my music, how powerful that would be. And if I sent out an email, hey, I got this, concert coming up, or I've got this CD or vinyl or whatever it is, merch bundle, how powerful that is. So you want to always be thinking like, okay, yes, sure, I want streams because that's like, making me money long term and it's passive income. But sometimes it's like, what can I sell right on the front end that's actually going to bring me money? The only time where I've kind of seen a publicist work was when we went on tour and we were getting local press. And so maybe they also set up interviews at radio stations, or they set up, articles that are in that city to encourage fans to come out to the show. The second time I've only really seen publicists help a little bit is piggybacking on a radio campaign where it wasn't only just the radio promoter that was, contacting the radio station to add the song, but it was also the publicist, the manager, you got me, and maybe you got the booking agent, and maybe you might even have the record label all contacting this one. But again, I think it's so much better for you to take that $2,000 to $5,000 or $10,000 on a publicist, and instead of trying to beg to get on news, you want to make the news. And how would you make the news? Put that money into a big collaboration. Get a big feature on the song. That's going to do more for you, and the majority of your marketing will be done. We talk about this on the Spotify challenge, where there's 3 different types of features you can get on a song. You can get a primary artist feature where the song is actually showing up on the other artist's profile. So you're getting that prime real estate, which is huge. And that's what you really want. And that's probably the best press you can get in the story, plugging into their fans. I could talk about collaborations for days. If you can't get the primary artist feature, the second one is just the featured artist. So their name will show up beside the song, and you can, promote that they're on it because they are on it, but it's just not showing up on their profile. But if it's not showing up on their profile, that also means that they can't pitch it through the Spotify pitching tool. And so their release radar and their fans won't get notified nearly as much. Yes, it'll get notified a little bit through the algorithm because they're actually on it, but you really want that primary artist feature. If you can't get that, when we're talking about press and a story and using this in your marketing, is saying, can I get a co-write with you? And you want to ask an artist if you can get a co-write and build that relationship first. Maybe they're not ready to jump on a song with you, but they are ready to do a collab as far as songwriting, and maybe they help you write the hook. Maybe they help you produce the beat. But that's going to now have at least a story, because that's what we're talking about in press. But you don't need the press. You just need a great story that you can go and share that on social media. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, whatever other social media platforms that come and go. If you can learn to tell stories and tell your story through your songs, then the algorithm can do more press and promotion for you than any high-paid publicist. It just takes more time to think and come up with strategies. Number 3 is buying on to sketchy botted playlists. I swear, every week I hear of an artist that got, lured into this playlist promotion where they bought onto this playlist only to have the streams either deleted, removed, or they get an X beside their artist name, and it's really frustrating because you feel like you've been taken, right? But the second part of that is just getting on a playlist that doesn't even match your genre. Like I've said this before in other videos, you don't want to just, get on a playlist that doesn't have your genre just because it's got streams or followers, right? You want to get on a playlist that has your types of fans. I want to get on a rock playlist for all my rock songs. I want my hip hop song for TV and film to get on a hip hop playlist. I don't want to be on a classical playlist or punk playlist or country playlist, even if it's got hundreds of thousands of followers. We want the right fans. That's like opening up for a punk rock artist if you're an acoustic guitarist or piano player. It's not the right market to match. So we don't just want any streams or any followers or any playlist. We want the ones that align to us. And there's one service that I really like because it allows you to really niche down, and that's Submit Hub, where you can actually find curators that will listen to your music and they'll make a decision whether it fits or not. But what I've found is, because I'm a curator, sometimes I'll get songs that are a perfect fit for my playlist. And I'm just like, yes, add. And other times I'm asking myself, come on, man, this doesn't even come close to what I've got on my playlist. Why would you think this would fit. And sometimes it's actually not the artist's fault. It's because they're maybe a little bit more alternative or like classic hard rock, and mine's more new metal, so it's a little niched down. And what I like to say is the riches are in the niches. So when you go and you pitch your song on like a Submit Hub or something like that, take the time to actually listen to the playlist and ask yourself the honest question, does my song fit in here? There is no get rich quick scheme here as far as getting more streams. Like the only way you can really fast forward it is getting a collaboration, like a primary artist feature, right? Maybe you buy a huge email blast. Maybe you do run a ton of Facebook and Instagram ads, TikTok ads, right? And you're driving traffic to that song via a playlist, which we talk about in my book, Playlist Profits. But like you need to like drive a ton of traffic. And this is where I think a lot of artists don't understand is that a click-through rate, like someone clicking on your song from seeing your ad, like a good click-through rate is 2%, okay? 2% and up. So that means like out of 100 people, right? That means 2 of them clicked over, okay? 2 of them clicked. Right? So that means you got to understand how many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people need to see your ad for them to want to click. And we underestimate how many that really is. And now we can get that click-through rate up. So it's 3%, right? And so that means every 100 people, 3 people are clicking over, right? And when you start to reach tens, hundreds of thousands of people, that's a really big number, right? And that doesn't include the people that share the ad and get your music out there. Number 4 is big budget music videos. And I have been caught up in this so many times where we spent $13,000 on this one music video and the song hasn't even gotten 1 million streams yet. You know, on another song, we spent $5,000 on a music video and that song actually did get 1 million streams, but it wasn't a hit song. And so this is the thing. A lot of artists think that, you know, making the music video is marketing, but it's not. It's just a marketing asset, and it's now what you do with that music video that makes a difference. Because if it doesn't get any views and nobody sees it, then what's the point? Like we spent $13,000 on that one music video, and what I should have done is I should have spent $1,000 on it and $12,000 marketing it. Same with that other music video. I should have spent $1,000 making the video and $4,000 on it. Like, why are we okay to make these music videos and spend a lot of our time, money, and resources thinking we're doing something? And I know why. It's because it's art to us. And we feel like a satisfaction like we did something. But if nobody saw it or watched it, then what was the point? Right? Like the idea is, sure, we want to build relationship. Let them see us perform. You know, by doing a music video, you are going global instead of just local, right? Like it's better that you perform that music video, record it, send it out on the internet, as opposed to you just playing at your local pub or wherever down the street. It's definitely better to go online and reach way more people. But if nobody sees it, what's the point? You know, did you chop up like 10 to 15 shorts of it? Like, did you make dozens of pieces of content? And not just post those on social media, but run ads to them on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Did you post them everywhere? YouTube Shorts. Like if you're going to make the music video, did you make it behind the scenes? Did we do all these things to tell the story behind it? Or did we just do a music video because we wanted to kind of stroke our ego? When really we should have done a way more budgeted music video and then took the rest of that and marketed it. And what I've found is when we have these big budget music videos, sure, we do cool stuff, but at the end of the day, is it really a cool idea? Is the concept really that cool? Or do you just have cool lights and outfits? And sure, we set up the band and they've got amps and we've got all kinds of whatever cool stuff, but is it really an engaging video? Something that's like viral, something that pops, something that just really grabs people by the throat and says, I need to watch this. And then the last thing is, you know, sometimes we make these music videos for the wrong songs. Like I like to say now, a song has to earn a music video. Like sometimes we'll make these music videos because they were the single back in the day. And you got to remember with labels, right? They only chose 1 to 3 songs as the single off of a 10 to 12 song album. And those were the 3 that they were just going to go crazy against, right? And so back then it was normal to shoot a music video even before the song came out. But nowadays, artists are just putting out singles, like songs, like they're singles. But are they really singles? Are they really that caliber, or is it just another song? Like, I was playing a bunch of songs for my wife the other day, and she's like, okay, that one's a hit, that one's a hit, that one's not ready yet, Chris. Like, that one's 80% of the way there. Like, bring it up to this level. But we're so used to being like, oh, well, it's just a song, it's just a single. No, singles really matter. And it's like, why are we doing it if we're not going to do it great? So it's like, Chris, back into the studio. Go get a vocalist on that. Rewrite that part. Make it more catchy. Because she's like, it could be great, but we settle for mediocrity all the time. And there's no room for just good songs anymore. There's only room for great songs. And so when that comes to music videos, like, let's look at the songs and be like, does this song deserve a music video? And if it does, okay, let's go for it. But you're much better to maybe just do a lyric video or do a really low budget, something simple, or just a bunch of organic content. And then if the song takes off and it's doing well, then shoot the video. It's not like you're going to miss out or something like that. Like, one of my biggest streamed songs recently has 6 million streams on it, just on Spotify alone. And we never did a music video. We did a lyric video. But I made the mistake, and I'm dumb by shooting a music video for the wrong song. And I'm still licking my wounds from that. But you know what? You don't live in the land of regret. You keep moving forward. Which leads me to the last one, which is radio promotion. You know, radio can still sell records. You know, major labels are still investing a lot in it to break artists, to really cut through the noise, because there's still a lot of exposure to be had, especially with Sirius XM radio. We've been played a lot on Octane, which is kind of like the active rock station in my genre, and that has sold and moved a lot of records. Now, the problem is that you've got to build a campaign around it, and you have to be willing to do at least 3 songs for you to see success. Like, don't even start with 1 song unless you're going to do 3. But the problem is, a lot of times there's a lot of payola, and you got to be spending a lot of money just to get on the charts. Like, we spent 40 grand on radio, on active rock, and we got all these spins and we charted and whatnot, but a lot of them were OVN, which stands for overnight spins, between like 1 o'clock and 4 in the morning, when like nobody is listening. And the problem was, on this radio campaign, we barely got any support from Octane on this song. On the song before, we got a ton, but we didn't really go after all the other stations because they were actually payola, right? They wanted me to pay to get on. There were some stations where it was just like, we'll play music for just because we love it, just because it's good rock. And other stations where it's like, I don't care how good it is, you know, open up your checkbook. It's actually ridiculous and really sad that the game is still like that. But what I found with SiriusXM, that they'll just still play music because they freaking love it. But you got to be willing to open up a big pocketbook, because like 40 grand got us charted. It helped for touring. It helped for, you know, the relationship building and social proof, so to speak. But did I see any uptick in streams, downloads, store purchases of the albums? No, I didn't. And so you want to be very careful and make sure you got deep pockets, and you got to have a good team that actually knows what they're doing. Otherwise, you are literally just going to set money on fire. Out of all the things that I shared today, I've shared you kind of all the worst ones and to be weary of. The best places you can spend your money are on collaborations and features. So getting a bigger artist on your song. It could be a female, male, could be just another band, a producer. Some producers have big profiles. Some remix producers can remix your song, do a remix, put them as the primary artist, you as the primary artist. Like, that's one of the fastest ways to grow your fan base. And that's just partnerships, right? It's just relationships, working with other people. And it can feel like maybe a hassle. It takes a little bit more time, but honestly, it's amazing when you've built all these relationships up. And then besides that, it's honestly organic traffic and running ads to it. You know, you posting on social media, you know, different content pieces telling your story, right? Eventually something's going to hit, but you got to study, figure out what works and what doesn't, and you got to get your shots up there. And when you have posts that are working, meaning like you look at your last 10 posts and like 2 of them, like those ones crushed it, those are the ones that you probably want to run ads to a playlist to grow even more. I talk about that whole strategy in my book, Playlist Profits. I'll put the links below.